You walk into a room and everyone is smiling, but who is your enemy? Who is weak? Who is lying to you? In a world where manipulation hides behind a handshake and betrayal comes dressed in kindness, how can you read anyone instantly before they read you? This video will give you the eyes of a predator in a world of prey. No more being played. You will see them before they even know who they are. Look closely the next time you enter a room. Everyone you see is wearing a mask. Not the kind stitched from fabric or leather, but the kind made from fear, from insecurity, from the desperate urge to belong. The mask of the agreeable man, the polite woman, the modest friend, even the confident leader, especially him. His mask is the thickest of all. You think people show you who they are? No, they show you who they want you to see. That is their mask. But if you know how to look, how to really observe, you will see something slipping beneath the surface. A twitch, a hesitation, a moment too polished to be true, and in that crack, you will see their real face. The average man believes what is shown to him. The ruler, the strategist, the manipulator. He watches for what is hidden. Because the most dangerous thing you can do is accept the surface. People have been perfecting their masks since childhood. Every laugh, every compliment, every performance. They've learned what to say to be liked, to avoid rejection, to gain trust. But their nature, their instincts, those cannot be masked for long. Start to notice. The man who laughs too loud when the joke is weak. He is not amused. He is trying to appear easy going. The woman who makes constant eye contact, never blinking. She's not confident. She's overcompensating for fear. The boss who praises you too quickly, smiles too long. He may fear you, or worse, need something from you. The trick is not to watch the performance. It is to watch the slip. That moment when they forget they're being watched. When they speak to someone else, when they turn away, when they believe no one of value is listening. That is when the mask comes off, even for a second. That second is all you need. You see, deception is exhausting. It cannot last forever. The body cannot lie indefinitely. The eyes glance too quickly. The fingers tremble too subtly. The voice tightens too slightly. And when it does, when the mask begins to shift, you will be ready. You will see the crack, and through it, the raw and real psychology behind the person. Every movement reveals something. The one who hides his hands. He doesn't want to reveal his true intention. The one who leans too far forward, he is begging for approval. The one who keeps nodding, she fears conflict. And those who do not blink when challenged. They are either liars or masters. When you train yourself to observe rather than judge, to interpret rather than react, you become a hunter in a world of prey. Your silence becomes the scalpel. Your gaze becomes the interrogation. Because most people are so busy pretending, they forget to protect their tells. You are not here to trust. You are here to uncover. Let others fall for appearances. Let them be seduced by charm, impressed by manners, blinded by charisma. Not you. You will train yourself to question everything, to pause before you react, to notice when someone adjusts their collar too often, glances at the door too much, laughs too easily, or sighs just a beat too long. These are not coincidences. These are confessions. Even silence reveals more than words. When you ask a question and the answer is delayed, and the smile comes just a little too late, you are not talking to a person. You are talking to a mask struggling to stay on. Do not interrupt that struggle. Let it continue. Let them sweat. The longer you watch, the more truth will leak. Remember, people are not afraid of being judged. They are terrified of being seen. And when they feel seen, truly seen, the mask starts to rot. Their posture shifts, their energy tightens, their vocabulary becomes inconsistent. They try to adjust, but it's too late. You've already seen what they didn't want you to see. You've seen their weakness. That is where power lies, not in what people say, but in what they try to hide. Most never master this. They walk through life being deceived, misled, manipulated, thinking everyone is honest just because they smile. But you are here to see through the smile, through the role, through the act. Strip away the performance and you control the stage. See the actor for who he is, and you own the play. Let others be dazzled. You will remain still, calculating, silent, not to intimidate, but to study. because once you train your eye to detect the artificial, the authentic reveals itself without effort. Their mask will scream for attention. But you will keep watching what they're trying to hide. You will never again trust the surface, not when the truth lies buried just beneath their skin. Words are the most abused currency in the marketplace of human interaction. People speak not to reveal truth, but to cover it. They use words like smoke, clouding their real motives, distracting from what they truly feel. The foolish listen to what is said, the wise watch what is done. Because behavior is not edited, it is not rehearsed. It slips past their control and reveals the script they didn't want you to see. When someone speaks, listen once. But when they move, when they shift their weight, avoid your gaze, force a laugh, or change tone mid-sentence. Watch them twice. Because the body always testifies, it leaks what the mouth tries to contain. A man may say he is calm, but his fists will be clenched. A woman may say she trusts you, but she will lean away. A leader may say, I'm open to feedback, while his arms are crossed like a fortress. This is the principle that separates the manipulated from the manipulator. Words are camouflage. Behavior is the blueprint. When someone's words and actions do not align, it's not confusion. It's a message. They're showing you where the lie lies. Consider this. A friend tells you they're happy for your success, but their voice flattens. Their smile is too still. Their hug is brief. You sense it. That hesitation. That flicker, that quiet note of resentment humming underneath the performance. That is what you trust. That is what you study. Because if you accept only the words, you accept the version of reality they want you to believe, not the one that actually exists. And this goes deeper than gestures or posture. It's in the timing of their responses, the speed of their laughter, the way they breathe after you say something powerful. Words give structure, but behavior gives soul. You can hear someone say, I love you, and feel nothing, or hear someone say nothing at all, but feel everything in the way they look at you, in the way they act when they think you're not watching. This is how the masters read people. They don't analyze what's said, they decode the context. They ask, what wasn't said? Why did they look down when answering? Why did their tone drop when I mentioned that person's name? What are they trying not to show me? They do not react to the message, they react to the fracture in the message, the contradiction, the incongruence. That's the clue. Even the smallest behavior is a broadcast, a sigh when you enter, a quick glance at your shoes, a shift in tone when money comes up. Most people are so consumed with what they want to say, they miss the behavioral data screaming from every interaction. You won't, because now you understand that humans are more honest with their actions than with their words. The insecure will try to appear dominant. They will speak loudly, interrupt constantly, and puff up their presence. But watch their hands tremble when confronted. Watch their leg bounce under the table. That is the truth. The envious will shower you in praise, but they'll downplay your effort. You're lucky. They'll say, you always land on your feet. Their compliment is dipped in acid. Their words tell you they admire you. Their behavior tells you they're keeping score. The manipulative will feign vulnerability, but they'll never actually expose anything real. They'll tell a sad story, but their eyes remain cold. They'll cry, but no tears fall. They're using the behavior of the emotional without the emotion itself. And if you've trained yourself, if you've sharpened your perception, you will know the difference between a signal and a performance. The greatest tool you have in this world is the ability to read intention, and intention is never what is said. Intention is found in what someone consistently does, especially when no one is watching, especially when there's no incentive to perform. Do not be distracted by rehearsed charm. Anyone can smile, anyone can mimic warmth, but very few can maintain congruence between word and action over time. Your job is to test for that. Create small discomforts, ask direct questions, pause longer than they expect, let the silence stretch, observe what happens when the social script falters. That's when behavior becomes truth. And make no mistake, this is not about being suspicious of everyone. It's about being precise, accurate, strategically aware. You do not need to accuse anyone. You simply need to notice. And once you notice, you have power. Because most people betray themselves without ever realizing it. They think they've hidden their envy, their doubt, their fear, but it leaked. It was in their tone, in the way they placed their phone face down, in the nervous glance when you mentioned a name, in the smile that came 1 second too late. They've already told you the truth, just not with words. Power does not come from knowing what someone says. It comes from knowing what someone needs, because once you know what they hunger for, you can make them dance without them even realizing who's playing the tune. Every person you meet is seeking something. Not casually, not lightly, desperately. They may act composed, they may seem indifferent, but beneath the surface, a storm is always raging. Some are starving for validation. Others are addicted to control. Some crave safety, predictability, to never be humiliated again. Others crave to be admired, envied, even feared. These cravings define everything they do, how they speak, who they choose, what they chase, what they pretend to be. But the truth is, they often don't know what drives them. They walk through life thinking they make rational choices. They don't. They make emotional trades. They move toward whatever soothes their wound. The moment you discover what that wound is, you can own the entire board. Look closer. The man who constantly interrupts, who needs to dominate every conversation. He doesn't just want attention. He's terrified of feeling insignificant. He needs to be seen as superior. Stroke that need and he will follow you. Threaten it and he'll attack. Or the woman who constantly agrees with everyone around her, who laughs too quickly, praises too often. She isn't kind, she's afraid. She fears being disliked, excluded. She needs approval like a drug. You withhold it even slightly, and she will bend herself backward just to win it back. The one who flexes wealth, who boasts about achievements, who shows off loudly or subtle. Don't be fooled. He's not proud. He's insecure. He is haunted by the fear of being forgotten, of being ordinary. If you validate his illusion, he'll give you loyalty. If you expose the void behind it, he will hate you. You are not just reading people anymore. You are studying their hunger. Their need is the root. It is their softest spot. And the closer you get to it, the more predictable they become. Because people will abandon logic, dignity, and even loyalty if it means feeding that one craving they cannot live without. To find their need, you must listen differently, not to what they say, but how they say it. When their voice sharpens, when their eyes light up, when they become defensive or suddenly vulnerable, when they tell a story 3 times in one conversation, that's not a coincidence, that's a pattern. And patterns always lead back to pain. The father who talks endlessly about discipline and strength. Look deeper. You may find a boy once ridiculed for weakness. The influencer obsessed with beauty may have once been invisible. The CEO who micromanages every detail, likely once powerless. These scars never disappear. They simply evolve into adult behaviors, adult personas. And when you track them back, you find the lever. Once you know what they need, you don't have to ask for anything. They'll offer it. You'll know which compliments they can't resist, which questions make them open up, which threats make them retreat. You can use silence to starve their ego. Use attention to inflate it. Use small gestures to hook their loyalty. You can give them exactly what they crave, or take it away piece by piece. But this is not about cruelty. It's about clarity. It's about removing the fog most people live in. They believe people act randomly, selfishly, unfairly, but they don't. They act predictably once you trace the pattern back to the need. And once you do, you stop being surprised. You stop being hurt. You start seeing people for who they really are, not who they pretend to be. You'll notice how the same need echoes through their relationships, their choices, their habits. The man who needs to be admired will choose lovers who admire him, not challenge him. The woman who needs control will sabotage any dynamic where she is not in charge. The friend who needs to feel smarter than you will always find a way to downplay your success. And in all of this, you'll see the same thing. They are not free. They are ruled by their need. Every conversation is shaped around it. Every decision is filtered through it. They will compromise their morals, ignore red flags, sacrifice their own peace, just to protect or feed that need. But you are not ruled by emotion. You are ruled by insight. You will not be manipulated by performances. You will not be fooled by charisma or charm. Because once you learn to spot the hunger, you stop reacting to the noise. You start controlling the game, and people, whether they know it or not, start to feel that. They begin to sense they are being seen too clearly. Their rehearsed lines fail, their tactics dissolve, because you are not listening to their words. You are listening to their wound. You are speaking directly to what they fear you'll discover, and when you do, you can guide them anywhere. In a world addicted to noise, silence is the most unnatural act. It is also the most powerful. People fear it more than confrontation, more than truth, because in silence their mask begins to suffocate. Their mind races to fill the void, and in the scrambling, the real self leaks out. You have been taught to speak, to perform, to react. But the greatest players in this game don't move first. They wait. They let the silence do the bleeding. They don't rush to answer or to ease discomfort. They use silence as a mirror, and what people reflect in that mirror always reveals who they are. If you sit across from someone and simply say nothing after they speak, they will begin to speak again. And what they say next is never scripted. It's instinctive. They try to close the gap, to control the discomfort, to steer perception. And in that frantic attempt, they show you their fear. They reveal what they're trying to hide. Not through confession, but through correction. Ask a man a hard question and fall silent. He will either double down, over-explain, or break eye contact. Each reaction is data. Ask a woman why she suddenly changed her mind, then say nothing. If she panics, the truth was inconvenient. If she relaxes, it was genuine. The silence isn't empty. It's investigative. It's your weapon, and few know how to hold it. Most people cannot survive 5 seconds of real silence. They rush to fill it with apologies, explanations, sarcasm, laughter. They expose what they think you want to hear. They give up leverage just to end the discomfort. And the more they talk, the more you learn. You see, silence pressures the psyche. It strips away control. In words, people can manipulate. In silence, they fall back into reflex. It is there, in that raw moment, that the unfiltered self emerges. The ego flinches, the pride cracks, the facade starts to glitch. Use this to your advantage. In conversation, speak less. Ask short questions and listen without reacting. Let your stillness provoke theirs. Let your gaze demand more than their rehearsed response. Let your presence say, "I see you." They will either rise to truth or collapse into exposure. The impatient will try to dominate the silence. They'll fill it with noise. The insecure will try to please you in it. The manipulative will probe it, testing what phase of control you're in. And the wise will honor it. They'll hold it with you. They won't fear being misunderstood. Because they know silence is not judgment, it's observation. When you fall silent, people reveal how much control they've lost. When you don't give them a reaction, they show you how badly they crave one. When you don't correct their assumptions, they expose what they've projected onto you. All of this happens without you saying a word. It is also a test. How someone responds to silence tells you who they are without masks. Silence strips away performance. It forces people to fill the emptiness with themselves. And what they fill it with, urgency, guilt, ego, or peace, tells you what's running their mind. Do not confuse this with passive behavior. Silence is not submission. It's dominance without noise. It says, "I am not afraid to witness you. I don't need to rush. You will show me what you are." And they always do, because silence, when held correctly, doesn't just reveal, it commands. It makes people come to you. It makes them explain themselves. It forces the dance to begin on your terms. Even in confrontation, silence is devastating. Most expect resistance. They expect shouting, denial, defense. But when you look them in the eye and say nothing, they feel the weight of their own lie. It echoes in the stillness. Their story begins to unravel, not because you tore it down, but because they could no longer prop it up. In negotiation, in conflict, in seduction, silence triggers confession. The need to break it is so strong, people often say more than they intended. They rush, they overcorrect, they reveal angles they didn't know were visible. And you learn everything you need without lifting a verbal weapon. You will find this especially true in moments of tension, when something important is at stake, when emotions are high. That's when most people break. They reveal their desperation, their thirst for approval, their hunger to be understood, or their terror of being rejected. All of it is laid bare, not in what they say, but in how they panic against the quiet. The moment you understand this, you realize that silence isn't absence, it's exposure. It magnifies everything they're trying to minimize. It forces the invisible to rise to the surface. And most of all, it gives you the final advantage. Because while they are spilling truths they didn't mean to share, you are calculating, observing, building your next move.